it's one, two, three, four, one.
Hey Sadie, how you doing?
Hello.
For some reason my camera's not working tonight.
I was gonna say it's still, I don't know if it's still loading or what. We'll give it another minute or so.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, it's been a long day.
Oh my gosh, girl, I was kind of feeling under the weather today too. I'm like, man, I'm getting sick, but I feel better now. I don't know, maybe I ate and I don't know. It's just been crazy busy, but
Well,
yeah.
there have been, like somebody had said something earlier today where they're like, I'm so tired of like the pandemic crap. And I was like, girl, there is flu, there is strep, there's mono going around. There is
There's simple viruses too. I mean, and you still feel like crap. They still will wipe you out for like a few days. You know what I mean?
thing. Yeah. And it's just hard because it's like there's no true way to be like, because we all get sick. Like we're healthy individuals. We all get sick too. And so there's
Right.
no true way to be like avoid all of the germs known to man. Like there's just no way, but you can combat it and do the best you can with healthy nutrition and water and exercise and stuff. And so I know
Absolutely.
since I started the ISA Immune in my shakes, I have not been sick, but I was getting sick at every event that I was going to. So like I was sick when I went to St. Lucia. I was sick in Florida. I've like, and it usually starts out with like, I'm not sick. I feel fine. And then like 2 days later, especially after the event, I'm dying. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, where does this coming from? So the ISA Immune has made a difference for me, but I don't know if that's a coincidental thing. Maybe I got all my seasonal colds out of my system and now I'm just
Yeah, and you know what? Your immune system can be so like, so strong right now. I did do immune what's it called? Immunity shake or whatever. Yeah,
yeah.
I did it and I would just add to my shake and stuff. But and again, like okay, it's not like something super magical. I mean, I still was getting sick, but you know what
Yeah.
I have been using though? Because when I got sick with COVID, Brooke told me that it's a combination, and you know about it. I know that, like zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D. I think those three, right? So those are like really, really important. So I found, and I just buy it at Walgreens. It's like blackberry. It's gummies,
Mm,
but it has all three components,
mm,
and that's what I and Hannah we've been using. And knock on the wood because I don't want to get I don't
yeah.
but so far, like so good. And we are constantly around people,
Yeah.
constantly, because we have so many different things we have going on. And even like during COVID, like in the midst of it, we were like constantly around the people. But I mean, COVID is hey, I mean, I don't care what kind of supplements you take. If you get sick, if you around it, most
Yeah.
likely you'll get sick. You might not have as strong symptoms as other people because your immune system is stronger. I don't know. Everybody's so different. Like,
Yeah. When I've seen some of like, these people that have been using Isogenics for 20 years and they were still hospitalized when COVID was like first around and stuff. And it's like, it just doesn't
Exactly.
resonate.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so,
I
yeah.
know. And it's,
I think it might
it's
be in
like,
the genes.
I
don't-
consider
don't
myself
know
really
that.
healthy person, but when I got COVID, I literally was dying. I was dying for 2 weeks, just like they told you, it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks I was dying.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden I started feeling better, so, and I am a very healthy person, 7
Yeah.
years of isogenics, working out and all of that. So it's just, whatever.
Yeah.
So
It's-
what are we talking about today? Timing? Like I was like
So-
so confused, like what do you
I
mean?
know. Well, I was sitting here thinking, like because I went just like you, I went to next week's topic, forgetting that, today's the last day of the month. And I was like, oh, stop comparing. Yay. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, we have one more in November. I was like, time. I was like, okay, I don't know who said time, if they had a specific idea in mind, but basically what we did this morning is like, we just all kind of chatted about like, what was the first thing that popped in mind when you think of time with health. And so my first impression was like, we have our past, we have our present, we have our future. And what we do right now in the moment affects now and the future. And it doesn't affect our past. What we did in the past affects now and affects the future, but like we can only control right now. And so when you are making your decisions in the moment, like it can't be that microwave, like I just want to have this right now and in the moment, because it will have some after effects. And so getting those healthy habits, especially in this time of year, which is the holiday season, I don't care what, you celebrate, it's still a busy season across the world. And there's a lot of implied tasks that are falling into our laps, whether you're a parent or you're just like a person that works with people. They are parents, they have other things. So like unexpected school PTO shops are going to show up in their folders. And then I need cash, I need exact change. Like, what? Then there's like
That change.
Girl Scout. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm like, who carries like $1 bills? Like I have like maybe 3 crumpled in my car somewhere. But, like
You
I
don't?
gotta,
How come?
I gotta go have $17.50 for this thing for her. And I'm like, I'll go buy a pack of gum, like I suppose. And so there's things like that pop up. And then there's like, closures of the things that I normally go to because of their things on. So I have to rearrange my schedule. Then my husband has work holiday parties and I have work holiday parties. So there's all of these things, the neighborhood get-togethers. So like, I am not adding to the calendar. I was talking with my boss today and I was like, I'm not adding any new events or anything else. I'm not going to any mixers. I'm not going to breakfasts. I'm not doing whatever, because right now it looks a little bit calm before the storm, but this stuff is starting to trickle in. And I asked my husband today, I was like, you need to be asking your bosses right now, like what is expected, what parties, what things are going on. And he's like, that's a good idea. And I'm like, now, brother, come on, let's go. I need it because I need to know what is expected of me. Do I need to bake a freaking casserole or make a pie or whatever?
Yeah,
like,
so you can plan.
I need a
Yes.
buffer for these things because it's really important for my time. And when we
Yeah.
were talking about, just from like the leadership aspect, if you're working on building a team and helping people with their health goals, like this month especially, it's just different than every other month of the year, because for some people, they are trying to balance through the holidays, and other people, they're like, nope, you can't see me. I'll talk to you in January. And so you
Yeah,
just love on that. And so the relationships that we're working on this month, it's like, this is the month to strengthen. I had like a 35-minute after my chiropractor appointment, just really deep conversation with her. It like got really, really good. And I was like, this is what my goal is to do that on that level. She's a happy customer, but we're getting closer, and like, she'll trust me eventually. She was hurt by network marketing in the past, and she still has like this, other company that like hounds her. And she's like, when she messages me happy Thanksgiving, like it's always, and blah, 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 blah. And so she's like, I don't have a relationship with her. It's all, business stuff. And I'm like, okay, I've got to figure out who I have relationship with and spend my time with that. And so we had so many great, like viewpoints today on time. So it's such a broad subject. There was so many different areas that people, brought out their viewpoints and stuff. And I took a couple of notes, but I'd love to hear, your time, ideas and what comes to mind for you and stuff. And then, we can hear Noah, we just can't see him today.
Yeah, I know. It's a black square.
I have no idea what's going on.
Oh no. Well, for me, like the first thing, I mean, I had three things that came to mind. The first one, how people say, well, the time is not right. Well, you know what? Okay, it's an excuse because time might never be right. Just
Right.
do it, right? There's always going to be something, people are like, oh, it's going to be better in 2 months. Really? Really? You think so? It's unpredictable. In 2 months, something else will happen. So that was number one. Number two, managing your time and really thinking about the priorities. Like, what do we want to prioritize, right? Like, I had to, like, honestly, even let some people go out of my life
Mhm.
because I still, like, love them and everything, but they were either sucking life out of me or, like, it was just, I don't know, meaningless relationship, and it's like, again, I still love them. I still wish them happy birthday and, happy holidays, whatever. But am I going to go for lunch with them for 2 hours? No, you know? So that, and then the third one was, oh my God, I forgot what's the third one was.
It'll come back. That's like me all the time.
No.
Like
Oh my goodness.
I'm the type of person, like when I'm having a message with somebody, like I'm over here like taking notes because like I will forget like my thought so much that like I'm listening to you, I'm taking notes and
Yeah.
like
It will
I'm
come to me. Yeah. Let's move on to Noah. Let him talk about his time.
yes.
I'll be right over there.
Okay.
Okay.
See, we don't even know. You're not even at your desk. He's off cleaning the kitchen or something right
He's
now.
probably doing some chores. I know, right? We always
No, I was
multitask.
gonna actually get my cleanse drink.
Yeah. How's your cleanse going?
It's going, it's harder when I don't have as many things to do
Oh,
Oh,
today. That's the biggest thing. I was cleaning around the house and rid of some boxes today, but I didn't have a whole lot going on today, unfortunately.
yeah.
yeah, no, it's hard. When you're at home, oh my gosh, it's so hard. You're surrounded by all the food, and I cannot do it when I'm at home.
Yeah.
Good thing I don't have a lot in my fridge. I try to
Yeah.
keep it pretty clean anyway. But I would say as it is really most of the time. Like the other day, actually, Sadie knows about this. Is it was weird because my Facebook was locked, so I didn't have something to to check all the time. I felt so empty.
Yeah. It's like those they say that the minutes are short or the minutes are long and the years are short or something like that. And like
Yeah.
and when you're doing things like cleanses or when you don't have some of your like normal routine things, it warps time. And it's still the same. It's always the same. But like I have been a puddle jumper with time in most of my life. Like I would be like, I can't wait to graduate, like I can't wait to finish basic training. I can't wait for this deployment to be over. And like I like recognized that I was always puddle jumping. Like I can't wait for this pregnancy to be over and stuff. And I'm like, I got to stop doing that and just living in the moment. Took me a long time to kind of like figure it out. And I still, like you get really excited, really, I can't wait to go on my trip. I can't wait for NYK. I can't wait for blah, blah, blah. But like not being like ruminating on it and be like pacing the house, like waiting for it. But on cleanse days, what ends up happening is I'm like, I'm going to go to bed early. And then I'm in bed and I'm like, I cannot fall asleep because I'm full of all this natural energy. And then I end up waking up at 5 a.m. And if I'm on day 2, I'm like, I just want to sleep longer on my cleanse days. But I'm like, I don't have the need to sleep as much on cleanse days. And so time definitely goes wonky on those days. So some of the notes that I had kept from this morning is when thinking about abundant and scarcity mindset when it comes to time. Like we always think about abundance when it comes to money or scarcity when it comes to things and food and all this stuff. But time, when you live like you have an abundance of time, you're just happier. Like when you're scarcity and you're like, YOLO, I could die tomorrow, you have like a desperation and you don't enjoy things as much as you think. Like for me, I've had to put some pins in some things and I'm like, well, it's okay because I have time to revisit it later. Like I can look at it again in 20 years. I can look at it again in 2 years. I can look at it again in 16, And so we were saying this morning, like we're all young enough to have 20-year goals, 30-year goals, 40-year goals. Like we are here biohacking for vitality. So we're going to have, these these longevity lives. And so it's like, when you're thinking like, what do I want to do down the road? Like when we make our vision boards in the next couple months, like it's going to be focused on 2023. Like a lot of my vision boards are like, one day I want to have an RV. One day I want to have, you know, this and that. And, but they're not as short term. I need to come up with those intermediate goals. So versus the long-term goals versus the short-term ones. And so, and then bringing it down even further, somebody was talking about, you know, your morning routines and your evening routines. Like if it's thrown off just a little bit, time changes. And then sometimes it affects your mood and your energy and everything else. And along those lines, some people, you know, time and energy are of equal value. Money is not even on the plate. It's time and energy. And when you focus on things like that, this made me think of David T.S. Wood, where he used to be like roaming the streets barefoot, you know, looking for jobs. And now he's like a multimillionaire. When he started focusing on time and energy and human relationships, money just showed up. Like he still hustled, but like he was focusing on these things and not like, where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money? And so time and energy are wealth. They are money. And I think that was
100%.
so beautiful. It just made me really think of that, you know, tying in with all of that together. And then
It is.
recognizing,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, if you want to thought on that, I was already going to move on.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that is so true. Oh my God. Like I almost feel like I live in like a fairy tale type of story or something, because I mean, it took a while because I grew up in a very scarcity mentality environment, and I had scarcity mentality for a long time. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Sometimes I still like, oh shoot, you know, another bill, where I'm gonna find money or whatever. But it doesn't last as long as it used to be. And now being like grateful every day for small things, and just counting your blessings, you know, it's part of my morning routine. I don't know, it's really not about timing, but you kind of touch based on that. And I was like, oh my God, like the abundance is just coming my way. Like it's crazy how universe literally tunes in with you and starts giving you more and more and more.
Yes.
I mean, if I was saying this, if I would be saying this, I don't know, even like 3 years ago, because really this journey of abundance and everything and gratitude started for me maybe, gosh, maybe a year ago, maybe even less than that, truly. But I've been very disciplined about it every day. Like my affirmations, oh my gosh, my gratitude, have to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And so 3 years ago, I would say, oh my gosh, this is like some crazy stuff. Because even when I went to Unleash Your Power Within with Tony Robbins, I mean, I loved it. It was life-changing experience, but it didn't really register. You know what I mean? Like some things did,
Yeah.
but a lot of things didn't. And I am dying to go to this event again now with the mentality that I have to experience all of this. Wow, that would be a huge breakthrough for me. So
I think you and I are very similar because like I just finished, like we just like completed on Monday the accelerator program. I'm not going to do a second year. I'm very grateful for it. I learned so much from it. This next year is my application year. Like this is my time to apply. I went to UPW before, and like it was like a lot of base information, you know, but it's like you can't apply it until you have other tools. So just like giving somebody a book but not telling them how to read. And so that's where it continues, the growth goes with you, and like you're always open for growing and learning new things. And so when you can go back later, you know, when some things have solidified and settled and you're ready to hear it, it's like a whole new story. It's a whole new thing.
oh
But
my
you're like, it's
gosh.
familiar. It's like, I know this, but it's like, but now it makes so much more sense. And so every once in a while in the last year, I'm like, okay, you know, I connected, I did this program. It, you know, wasn't cheap, you know, all these things. And I'm like, why am I not a billionaire yet? But like really just being like, knowing that the foundation that I just laid, knowing that I don't have to do a second year, I can come back if I want to in a year or two, whatever, it's totally cool. But like now it's my application time. Like that is a huge, like, you know, shift for me. And so, like you'll like, I was going to move into the next subject of, love languages, and like, we all like have heard of them. Like we all know that, but like, what is our learning language? And some people are hands-on, some people are visual, some people are audio, like some people, you know, need different variations of these things. And so when we're trying to create things in Team Unstoppable and everywhere else, that's just like one size fits all, it's never going to be one size fits all. And so when we say like, you know, what's a good video to send? It's like, well, I have 20 because I have lots of different types of people, and some people don't want videos, they want this or they want that. And so it's important for us to like learn those people and learn people's love languages when we're working with them. And I will always know when somebody's love language is like gifts or words of affirmation, because I send a lot of cards to people and postcards. And so when they like message me and they're like, oh my God, thank you so much for the card, you're so sweet, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm like, okay, they like gifts, they like words, you know?
Yes.
And then other people, nothing. So, and okay, hold on. I have to step into the bathroom and help a certain young man for one moment. So I
Oh
will,
yeah, yeah.
but keep talking and I'll be right back.
Yes. Now are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, okay, okay. Were you on 10 o'clock call?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I cannot do 10 o'clock. I feel like the attendance is so much better.
Yeah, well, for you, it's a little bit later too. So what was that?
No, no, I'm in Chicago, so for me it is 10 o'clock.
Okay,
Yeah, where are you?
I'm in California.
Oh, you are. Okay, okay. Yeah, 10 o'clock is hard for me because I'm usually out of the house by like 9:30 or 10 o'clock I have to be, so that's why. And
Yeah.
I don't like to be on the calls when I drive. I mean, I've done it before, but it's almost like I can't do both, like focusing on the road and then paying attention to the call. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Sadie. Like, this is such a great point of like layering all this experience on top of each other, because there's no coincidences. Like, I know that there was a reason why I had to go to UPW and do accelerator, even though I didn't have $10,000. You know, I mean, I found a way.
Yeah.
And
I'm still paying it off. I'm probably going to pay it off for a while.
yeah, you know, and like, you know, so here's Tony Robbins, then this, then somebody else, you know, then I was following Jessie Lee for a while. I mean, I still love her. I just don't even have time anymore. Like, I would jump on every live that she had. I don't have time for this anymore. But you know, and then doing the legend thing with Fraser, which was hands-on. That's what I loved, because he would like give you scripts, like literally say this, and he wasn't salesy. He was the creating relationship and being authentic. Because I never really liked Eric's verbiage. To me, it's like really like kind of used car salesman verbiage. Like that's just me, you know. So, but Fraser's is me. It's like, hey, you want it, you don't want it, doesn't matter to me. Like, I love you anyway, type of verbiage, you know. So, but it was all layered on top of each other, on top of each other, on top of each other, to create Anastasia that, you know, that she is now, the person that I am now. And so,
Yeah.
and of course, I mean, I still have a long time to go. Time, right? But
Yeah.
it's about patience. It's about, you know, being grateful for what you have, right? And then applying, like you said, everything that we learn. So not just like, okay, here's, I did this, you know, whatever, accelerator, and I forget about it. No, I mean, I go to GoPro every year. I go to Millionaire Women,
Oh, the
whatever.
most powerful women.
Yes, 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 yes. You know, those are things that are a must for me, because it at every event you're going to hear something that's going to like stuck in your head, right? And change something inside of you.
Well,
So,
and I'll tell you, I was tested because this GoPro weekend, and I have a VIP ticket that came with it or whatever.
I know.
You know that my family is going to that event or
I know.
the
Yes.
Day. Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's give me a ticket. I'm gonna have my earbud in. I'm gonna walk around like this, but I'm gonna be like looking her at it. I'm just like, no, Sadie, like you need to be like present. You need to be watching this. You need to learn all this or whatever. Like, but I really have that FOMO where I'm just like, oh my gosh, they're gonna see like my favorite actor is going to show up and do a backflip in front of everybody. I'm going to miss it, you know, and whatever, but I'm like, it's okay.
That's huge. That's huge. See, like
But
Saturday, I probably will be able to watch the whole thing, but Friday and Sunday, I usually work.
yeah.
And so, I mean, I will have to work and watch.
Well,
No,
that's the thing about it, you know, when you've been to it, you know, like you're not seeing it all for the first time. So for even for me, like sitting down, and part of it, I'm gonna take that time. Like I blocked off my calendar, whatever. I'm gonna do a call with Noah, but like I'm gonna do, like I'm going to be catching up on stuff. And so I keep saying like I need to spend some time doing some unstoppable admin things. I need to get some, you know, fresh new Canva projects and stuff like that. And I'm like, when am I going to do this? And I'm like, oh, I can actually do it and listen to them on Friday and then work
you
on my other.
can't. No,
Well,
girl, you can't.
but it,
No, like I'm telling you, it's oh my goodness, when was it? Last year or was it 2 years? No, it was 2 years, I think, ago. Remember when Emily like really, really wanted all of us to get GoPro ticket? two
yeah,
years or
that was
three
my first
years?
one.
Time flies again, time. But I remember him saying in the beginning, like, don't do anything. You will have the desire to go and clean the house while listening, but put everything down and just sit and listen. And that's what I did. And that just blew my mind in terms of how much this whole event impressed me. And all these people, I had Stormy and Jesse and like, wow, I didn't know any of these people. I had no idea who they were. Ed Milet, like, do you remember like Sylvester
Yeah.
Stallone and stuff? And I was so glad that I actually, because it was my first one, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do what Eric says, because otherwise, like I said, I mean, I know it's not gonna be the same, but I have to work. I just cannot take 3 days off. So it's
Yeah.
killing me.
Life, I mean, there's going to be different seasons for different things. And like, you know, there's always people that are like, consistency is key, you know, and like, but you can show up differently and still be consistent. And, you know, like it, you're going to have to make compromises for times. Like, I mean, we had to shift the time because my daughter had volleyball, like my daughter has said things, out loud to other people, like, Mom, you're always on the computer. Like, and I'm not, but like, that was her interpretation. So the last thing I want is for her to have like adult memories of like, Mom, always back to everybody, you know, on the computer. And so it's like, I sat down and asked her, I'm like, is volleyball important for me to attend? And she said, yes. And then I missed, you know, a couple in the end or whatever, but by then it was okay because I was there and she knew that I was there and she'll always remember that. And so, remembering that, you know, Gabby talked a lot about that this morning with like the time that you can't get back with your loved ones and your kids and things like that. And for my aging parents, I have some parents that are not very healthy. And like, we're just kind of like, we don't know what's going to take them or when it's going to be. It's not about how many years we have left with them. It's how many visits do I have left with them. It might only be one. There might not be any more visits, but there could be 2 more years left, you know? So it's like, yeah, the phone calls, but I don't call them all the time. Like we don't have our relationships are dynamic, you know, like everybody's, but you know, the time is different when you're older. And like right now we're in the hustle and bustle of, you know, for me having young kids, for us, you know, building this empire, you know, building leadership teams and doing all this other stuff. And then we've got other goals too. Like Isagenix isn't our entire personality. This isn't everything about us. Like we all have other things that we're a part of that we can be passionate about. I'm really passionate about helping veterans. And I'm part of this other job that is brought me, one of my greatest accomplishments was I had met this one female and she was an Army veteran and she served before me and stuff. And I was like, oh, you know, what's your experience with the VA? And she's like, I've never been. And I was like, what do you mean you've never used the benefits that are allotted to you? Like these are, you know, federal benefits that taxpayers may pay for you to get what you need. And she's like, but I only served like a couple years and I didn't deploy. And, you know, she came up with all these excuses and I'm like, you deserve to go there. Like you raised your right hand, you pledged your life for this country and you should go and use the benefits that are there. And so I just said that like one time to her, didn't really bring it up again. And then she messaged me a couple months later and we've been friends about other things. And she's like, Sadie, I have an appointment today with the VA office and I'm so scared. I'm so nervous. Like, what do I say? What do I do? And I'm like, just be yourself. Just talk about your experience, just like share what you've been doing since you've gotten out and what are you looking for right now or whatever. And I'm like, just be yourself. And so she messaged me after and she's like, Sadie, it went so well and I'm crying and I don't know why I'm crying and I don't know. And I wouldn't have ever done this if it wasn't for you. And I was like, girl, I didn't do anything. I just told you to like use what's there
That
for
you deserve it. Yeah, yeah.
But like that, like we have a special bond now. And like that relationship totally completely separate from Isogenics. She knows that I do this. She's not had any questions or, had any interest in it, and that's totally fine. But like we are bonded. So if and when a time comes that she is interested or has questions or anything like that, like who's she going to trust? Me or like some, booth that she meets on the sidewalk, or something like that. Like we have that connection. And like, so there's other passions that you can pursue that are not connected to, Isogenics right now, but like maybe can be later on with time. And like, we've all committed to this long haul. Like, this isn't something that we're just like touristy with, and so it's like, everybody has those stories of I've been talking to this person for 7 years and they just finally, decided to take a chance. And this biohacking is like giving people that new layer, that new dressed up look, and people are now really taking a look at it. And so that's exciting. Like I'm ready to run with that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I started, go ahead.
no, you had.
Well, I started reaching out to people and just asking them basically like, hey, what Zach said that he said, have you ever heard of biohacking? And if you have, what do you know about it? So basically just with this question. I don't know if it sounds cheesy, but that's the only thing I could come up with. And Zach said it's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever. So I started reaching out with that. And so my plan is like I had one lady who said, yeah, I think I know it's like, changing trajectory of your health. And, okay, good. Yeah. I said, okay, very good. And then I would ask her, like, would you be open to watching a video to get a little bit more information about it? So I think that is what my plan going to just asking people and hopefully giving them more info and then seeing if they would be interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, something sparked the thing in me in terms of timing when it comes to the families and spending time with their loved ones. When I started network marketing, I was with a different company for 8 years, and like honestly, I have so much guilt because that company literally took so much of my time. Yes, I stayed at home. Yes, it was my only income. I didn't have to. I was making really decent money there. I didn't have to work anywhere else. But I remember those because I mostly worked on weekends because it was home parties based company, totally different from Isogenics. And so people want to have parties on the weekends, and I remember guys literally driving to those home shows. It was a jewelry company. That's how I actually met Sarah. I brought majority of my clients from the company with me to Isogenics, believe it or not. And I would drive to those home shows, and you guys, I literally would cry in my car because I would have sometimes I was really good at what I did. And I would have shows like Friday nights, Saturday, Sunday, and it would like repeat over and over and over again. And I look at my children and I'm like, I literally put this, I mean, I needed money, yes, but now I'm not making this mistake. Like even today, like for example, I wasn't feeling well too, but I was really like crunched with time. And like my to-do list with Isogenics today, okay, you can just forget about it because it's almost 9 o'clock and I haven't done like I didn't even do a reel today. I need to do a reel. After we're done with this, I'm making a reel because I promised myself make one reel a day.
Yeah.
So and so my friend and so my friend called and she really needed to talk. And she's a very, very dear friend of mine. Like, I mean, I'm so blessed to have her in my life. And like before Anastasia would be like, oh, I don't have time. I have this to-do list, my business, my business, my business, my business is important. It's my future, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's important. Absolutely. But this relationship is more important to me. And I spend time with her, talking to her, listening to her. She's having, big problems at home. And I was like, I cannot recognize you, Anastasia. Like your priorities have changed. It's the same with my kids. Like if my daughter wants to talk to me and I have things to do on my phone, I'm going to put phone away most of the time and listen to her and spend time with her. And before it wasn't like that. I would be like, I'm busy. I gotta do this. I have to finish it. So yeah.
So I have a little bit of this will kind of, just be like a memory for me for a long time. When my grandmother, my Oma, who's my favorite person in the world, started going like south. The whole family, like nobody was in a position where they can go and like help her. She kept falling, and her elderly husband was like, I don't know what to do. And of course, like our fear was like she would tear an artery or something in a fall. And so I was like, I can come up to Minnesota. And so I grabbed my son, my daughter stayed here with my husband, and we went up there for 2 weeks right before Live Out Loud. And I helped prepare the house. I, moved around the rugs, and I bought different like aids and different things like that. But the first thing I did when I walked in the house, I went and found Oma. She was laying in her bed, and I said, hi, Oma, I'm here. And she was like, are you trying to get me to buy those drinks from you right now? And I'm like, oh no, I'm here to help. And she was like, oh, okay. And I was like, don't take it personal. She is having dementia moments. She's, but she knew that I had been doing this for a while. And, she had a couple of shake canisters in the house from, that me and Molly have both gotten her to try, and she's had the collagen here and there, whatever. And we had long conversations. She was always very supportive. She was always very good. But like the first thing she said to me when I showed up there to like help her, was like, you want me to drink those shake things? And I'm like, no, I'm here because you're dying. Like, I mean, I didn't say that to her, but I was just like, I knew that we were at the end of her life. And so that 2 weeks was so precious to me. I was in a place in a life that I've built and designed to be able to go to help take care of her and have those precious last few conversations with her, and let Miles bond with her a little bit because he's so young. He didn't have as much time as Miranda did with her. And I got some questions answered, and we, talked about some things. And so that time was so precious to me. But, it's people are always going to kind of have their unconscious mind thinking about like, oh, does she have an agenda? Does she have an ulterior motive? Things like that. And it just goes back to being a genuine and authentic person and learning from leaders like Fraser Books and the ones that you like align with the most to communicate with people. And we talked about communication this morning. Like we teach people how to respond to us. We teach people how to communicate with us, and we let people know, like, by how we treat ourselves and what we do for ourselves, how they can treat us too. And so for one of my builders that has been with me in Isogenics, like every time she'd message me, like I would drop what I'm doing to respond back. And so I taught her that I am always available all the time. And then like there's one moment in time where like every time my sister Tiffany would call, I'd answer because I was available. And then the same time Michelle would call me, and I always had other things going on. And so Michelle's like, what's going on? You're talking to Tiff all the time. You're not talking to me. And I'm like, you just keep calling me when I have meetings. I'm sorry. Tiff calls me in times that I don't have meetings. And so like it just goes back to that communication and letting people know, like, so I actually set an appointment with my sister, and my sister was like, have to make an appointment with Sadie now because she's so busy and so special. And then my mom turns around and she's like, do I have to make an appointment to talk to you? And I'm like, yeah, actually, it'd be pretty nice, Mom. Like, let's do it, But of course, like to them, like they have all the spare time in the world. They don't do anything with their lives. Like they've got their jobs and that's it. And so like they don't understand the concept of, being a mover and a shaker and stuff. And I was telling everybody I'm the rainbow unicorn of the family. Yes, sir. Because I do all kinds of crazy stuff. Okay. Can we wait to decorate the tree until after we got the lights on? Yeah. Okay, thanks. They are so
But
angry.
that is so, so cool again that you said that, because it is so true that we teach people, how to treat us and all these things, like, because, again, with the friend that I was talking about, how she called me and, she needed to talk to me and all of that. But she also like, she only does, like, we do the same type of business on eBay, but
Mhm.
that's all she does. Okay. I work outside home. I do Isogenics, and then I do this eBay business. And so she knows that I'm super, super busy. And when we like started first communicating, like, I was, like, of course you want people to like you. And so I would like always pick up the phone and let her talk for hours. Sometimes we would be on the phone like for 3 hours. And like, yeah, okay, it's all dandy and great, but dude, you have nothing going on. I have like a freaking huge list to accomplish. And
Yeah.
so, and I kind of trained her, I hate that word, but, almost kind of trained her where, like, if I say, oh, you know what, I have a business call coming up, like last night, we had a call and I was like, I gotta let you go. And she's like, oh, yeah. No, that's okay. That's all good, or, like if I have to do something else, I'm like, I trained her where she doesn't get upset and she respects the fact that I'm just super, super busy person,
Yeah.
So you
And
absolutely right about that.
I've had other people too that are just like, Sadie's so busy, I'm not gonna tell her my, issues. And then I'm just like, no, don't do that either. So like it's always a balance with each person. And like, I mean, like in the Midwest, like passive aggressivity, is like such a huge thing. And so like what's not being said, like, these are the words coming out of your mouth, but these are like the things that, you're saying in the background. That's like my mother,
Yes.
like so much into that or whatever. So like even the last conversation, I was just like, yeah, call me anytime, like I know I seem busy. We don't talk much anymore, but like I was like, I know I've got a lot of going on or whatever, but you can call anytime. And she's like, the phone goes 2 ways. And I'm just like, indeed it does, Lori. I know that, but she's not raising 2 young kids. Like there's all this other stuff that went unsaid, with that one little like jab, and like with our history, there was like, I was just like, yeah, okay. So like it was like so much of that in my family and a lot of that with like certain people. So when you're able to kind of read somebody's energy and like who they are and stuff, and like when we're meeting brand new people, you never know what they're going to be like. And then the people that you've known for a long time could have changed. So like you can anticipate, a previous version of themselves, and they may have evolved and changed and stuff like that. So it all goes back to like just that human connection, communication, relationships, and all of those things. And so, and just knowing where to place your energy and your time and what's most valuable and stuff like that. And so this is definitely a great subject. It's so broad. There's so much that we could continue talking about, and kind of go, bouncing around and stuff. But I think that, that, I was telling the group this morning too, I was like, we set these calls for 30 minutes. They almost are always end up being an hour.
Yeah, what time is it? Oh gosh.
42, yeah. But tonight Brad's gone. I'm not going to be going to my pole dancing class because Brad's not home, and so I don't have anybody to watch the kids. But but again, like back to family time, like Brad, he knows that I have a lot of calls in the evenings and stuff. So this is time where Miles is trying to decorate the tree by himself right now. Like I'm like, he should probably, he wants to have that special memory in that moment and all that stuff. And we've got all this other
Yes.
decorations that we haven't put out yet because we're out of town over the weekend. And so so I was just like, you get kind of anxious thinking like, okay, this is happening on behind me or whatever, but like I want to be present with this conversation too. So but since we're on the subject, it's like kind of knowing those boundaries too, where it's like, okay, we're about 45 minutes, let's go ahead and wrap it up. So if anybody has any final thoughts or anything.
Yes, you
then-
go and you
You go.
spend time with Miles and decorate that tree for the memories. Yes.
Yeah, well, we're still fighting over where to put the tree, because there's a spot over there where my daughter is on a chair and she likes her chair there. And I want the chair to go over here and the tree to go over there. And so she's fighting me right now, but
Yeah.
I'm the grown up. So
Well, what you can do, you can say, okay, this year let's do this, and then next year we're gonna do it where you or something like that.
exactly. And the like the thought process of what we're doing a lot this year too is like we're shedding skin. So we're like getting rid of a lot of things right now in our house. Not to replace it right away, but for the things that we are replacing, it's so much more intentional and meaningful and like it makes sense. And so that's what we're really like focusing in on right now too. So it's like we're getting rid of some of the Christmas stuff. Not to worry though, when we'll go to the store, we get rid of 5 things. How about we get 2 brand new things that we really, really love, you know? And so that kind of like concept and stuff right now. So
Love that. Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. I'm off to make
Okay.
a reel. So
sounds
Okay.
good. All right. Good to see you guys and hear you guys.
bye.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye.